first ever hurricane force wind warning issued for California's central coastline, as wind gusts over 80 miles per hour are felt in Northern California. This streak crushing a car on the 101 freeway north of San Francisco. Firefighters worked to free a man trapped inside. Officials think the driver has serious injuries. More than 600 properties have been ordered by officials to evacuate in Santa Barbara, Los Angeles, and Ventura counties.
Hopefully it's not quite as bad as they say, but I got a bad feeling.
Many have chosen not to leave. Relentless weather causing concerns ahead of the Grammys red carpet and postponing the final round of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Fierce wind grounding planes at San Francisco International Airport as schools in impact zones have been canceled Monday.
Life safety is our priority.
Fire Captain Scott Safechuck shows us the burn scar from the Thomas Fire and 2018 deadly mudslides in Montecito. This basin created to stop water and debris from reaching nearby homes. And that could be life-saving?
Absolutely, yeah. You can see some of the remnants of boulders that have been pulled out before, and those are just a fraction of the size that came down during the debris flow. I mean, bigger than houses.
37 million, including San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Sacramento, under flood alerts.
As you heard, this storm that is coming our way is a major storm. It is another atmospheric river expected to last from this evening through Tuesday morning. It has been described by the Weather Service as having a, quote, high risk for life-threatening and damaging flooding.
And Dana's with me now. Dana, what are the biggest concerns in the next couple days?
Continuous rain is causing concerns that creeks like this will overflow their banks. Things will start to dry out Tuesday, but the threat of landslides and downed trees could remain for days. Kate?
Thanks for watching. Stay.
Tonight, we're tracking those torrential rains and gusty winds slamming the Bay Area, from fallen trees, rising waterways to shut down roads. We've been following the storm impact for you all day.
Let's take you outside right now from some of our cameras around the Bay, and you see some shaky lenses on some of those cameras. Strong winds still blowing. Top left, you got SFO, where a ground stop was issued today because of those winds. A lot of delays there. That plus rough waters also forcing a temporary stop to ferry service earlier today.
And take a look at this video at the Embarcadero. NBC Sam Brock captured this video today as waves lapped up on the seawall there. Flood watches will remain active into tomorrow morning.
Well, as it turns out, the main attraction today, incredible wind speeds, hours and hours of those strong wind gusts, weakening trees, causing some damage, some power issues. We talked about that. Those gusts will continue to stay strong throughout this evening.
And in the North Bay, a small grove of 3 redwood trees fell onto a car on Highway 101 this morning. This was on the northbound side near the Todd Road on-ramp, about in Santa Rosa right there. Now, it took rescuers up to 30 minutes to free that man who was driving in that car. Wow, we are told he was taken to the hospital with serious injuries, but fortunately he is expected to be okay. So some good news right there. Well, another big impact of those strong winds, power outages. Yeah, right now we're tracking more than 200,000 PG&E customers in the dark. As of this afternoon, the biggest impact is in the North Bay, where more than 40,000 customers are without power. And you can see those red areas right there showing some people who are in the dark, more than 5,000 customers right there in those red.
And we've got live team coverage for you on the impact of these strong winds and rain. Our Christy Smith live in the city with the damage done there. But first, we want to check in with meteorologist Rob Mayetta, who has been tracking this storm in person here at the station since 5 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, and that's when those and why these people looked up and forced to labor, and how you force them. This is a human rights issue.
And Kathy, most of us, of course, learned about Harry Wu last summer when he snuck into China, and that's when he got himself arrested.
But Dave, this is not the first time he's run afoul of Chinese authorities, though, is it?
No, actually, he's been doing this for quite a few years. He was arrested back.
The Supreme Court is going to hear arguments in a case which boils down to one question. Does the federal government unfairly target blacks for prosecution in drug offenses? The court ended up forcing the feds to explain why figures show that almost all people who are prosecuted for federal crack offenses are black. Now, we're going to talk about that in just a minute, but first, we wanted to show you an excerpt from a series of reports we did about crack and its sister drug, powder cocaine. Here's Newsnight's Lori Stern.
I'll take the south side.
Almost every night in Minneapolis, police are executing search warrants like this one. They say they picked it based on neighborhood complaints and evidence gathered with the help of informants. What they find this night is typical. Evidence of crack use, small amounts of the drug itself.
A typical crack house. There's very little food. It's all left open. But
police can link the evidence to only one person. He will face possession charges in juvenile court. The woman who lives here will have to deal with child protection and eviction proceedings.
the neighborhoods are really kind of our watchdog to where the busiest crack house is. And we go to the busiest ones we can find to make it more productive.
Police told us that a week after this incident, they made another arrest at the same address after they found more drugs and a gun.
The odds on these people doing any time at all are slim to none.
Police say they have to arrest a suspect over and over before his record is bad enough for him to do time. And they have to visit the same address repeatedly to shut a crack house down.
It has come in and it has basically became our number one priority, especially on the street level, with the amount of complaints from the citizens and the neighborhood watch groups, and just the effect that it has on crime. People, obtaining money to buy the crack.
So in terms of the police department resources, how are they distributed in terms of powder cocaine versus crack? Is it, 80%, 50%?
I would say 80.
Now, there are a number of issues that come into play here. To try and sort it all out, we've invited Al Houston. He's a clinical director of a drug counseling program called Turning Point. He's also a former crack addict. Also joining us is Pat Diamond, who's deputy prosecutor for Hennepin County. Gentlemen, welcome. Pat, first question.
Shalom, beloved brothers and sisters, Jews and Gentiles alike. Welcome. Thank you for being here. It is good to be here. Let me put this thing. Please give me a 1 if you can hear me and see me well. You may not be able to see me well, but you can hear me. Now, we're just going to go a little bit of what happened back in the day during Jacob's trouble, okay? Let's see, when was this? That was in 1995, November 31st, 1995. That was in Minnesota. And this is how it was, Brethren, okay? When it was us, when the thing was us, the police it's breaking down the door, get on the ground, arresting the suspect over and over and over again until he got enough records so we can put him in prison for life. So that's what those people was doing. All right. So it was something that they were doing purposely upon our people to destroy them. And a lot of folks are going to stay out there and say, well, that was not Jacob's trouble. That was not part of it. That was just some random things that happened. That's just like the 2/3 and behaving like the 2/3 or whatever. No, it is, and it was Jacob's trouble. So now, beloved, because of tonight, we're just going to look at the curses back then, the curses back, and then now. All right, let's keep on moving. All right.
Question to you. We've heard that on the federal level, at least when it comes to crack cocaine prosecutions, the vast majority who are prosecuted are African American. Does that mirror what's happening locally to the best of your knowledge?
As far as I know, yes. The crack prosecutions are overwhelmingly African American. In fact, the drug prosecutions that we see are probably overwhelmingly, or at least majority, African American.
Why? What's going on? Is it just targeting? Is there something in society?
I think that that's a more complicated question than it first appears.
No,
certainly,
it's not targeting. It's not complicated. It was targeted. It was targeted because that's what you people were doing on purpose. You targeted our people. You put this drug in the midst of our community, or where our people are the majority. You destroy our people, man. You destroy our community. You destroy our nation. Okay, and our people picked themselves back up. This was in 95. Okay, in 1985, during the 80s, people thought it was a problem that black folk were doing. When it started, then they quickly realized in a few months, they realized that you guys were the one complanting the drug and then arresting our people and charged them, put them in jail because you targeted them. That's what it was.
If police go out and look for drugs in almost any segment of our society, they could find them. They're prevalent all over the place in our society. So there's no question that the arrests have our function of where you go look. But beyond that, I think that some of the lead-in footage was instructive. There's tremendous pressure on police departments, and rightly so, to do something about the deterioration of the neighborhoods and the kind of destruction of a community that a crack house can cause.
I want to ask Al about this because you have experience with this, Al. What is it about crack cocaine versus powder cocaine that is such a problem?
Well, I think it's where the law enforcement concentrate on their arrests. I believe that crack cocaine has not, you understand, caused any more problems than powder cocaine. If you look at the statistics, there's more powder cocaine in this country than there is crack cocaine.
Yes.
But the authorities have
Okay, let me clarify one thing here. Crack and cocaine are pretty much the same thing. They are the same thing. The only reason why they call it crack is because the noise it makes when you smoke it, it crack. What it is, crack is a harder form of cocaine. It's just cocaine, put a little bacon and then cook it, and it become hard. It becomes more potent. That's all that is. That's not like anything like, well, crack is black, cocaine is white. No. In fact, you had the people that were doing crack back then were white folks, and they overwhelmed the so-called blacks. Cocaine was done mostly by the celebrities, which were doing crack also, but it's no big deal, no big difference.
tendency to focus on crack cocaine in the African American community. It's just some more of the setting up the victimizing a certain communities in this country, and we've been victimized by being specially prosecuted. We've been victimized by different laws.
I've heard, though, Al, that when it comes to studies, that more white people use powder cocaine, more African Americans use crack cocaine. Is that right as far as you know?
Well, I don't believe so. I believe that just as many white people use crack cocaine as blacks. It's just where the concentration of the arrests are located.
I think you have to be careful with some of this because, for example, if the Minneapolis Police Department decided to turn its back on African-American neighborhoods with very serious crack problems, I think those neighborhoods would be rightly outraged at the police. At the same time, I don't say that the police are in African-American neighborhoods making crack arrests and putting resources there. When I said it's not as simple as all it appears on the surface, that's what I meant.
Let me ask you this. If there was a huge crack problem in white society as there is in African-American society, would we be targeting? Would we be having this much of a focus?
No.
I would hope that trying to solve the crack.
No, you would not, and then you're still not. Okay, the fentanyl crisis is literally decimated the so-called white communities and others. Okay, we just pull the statistics. We look at the numbers. Yet you don't hear any uproar. Yet you don't hear any truck convoy going over there to the White House and people attacking the police and people talking about, hey man, you guys are bringing this thing over there. You're facilitating the drugs in the midst of white community. You're killing our white children. Those kids are dying young, man. You got 12-year-old, 13, 14. You got 2-month-old little babies that are ingesting the fent, and then they are no more. There's no uproar. Nobody's saying anything, and people just act like, well, the migrant. And then this migrant turned out to be a huge thorn in so-called dominant society, but they are doing so much now. They want to blame the DA of New York, like, oh, where he released them. You people make those laws like that. You guys are. It's just like it's outrageous, man. You guys are losing because the blessing is no more. That's what it is. Okay.
Crack problem wherever it exists. Unfortunately, the problem of our cities are problems that we seem to, at least in the last 10, 15 years, have lost the will to address overall. Crack isn't an isolated case in that regard.
Is it what's worse, Al, a crack addict or a powder cocaine addict when it comes to issues of violence, when it comes to the drug itself?
Well, both are the same because crack is developed from powder cocaine. If you took a person that shot intravenously, shoot powder cocaine into their arm, they would have the same effect as you would smoke it. It would get the same behavior. The psychosis would be the same. If I took powder cocaine and poured it and put it in a spoon and shot it in my vein, you would get the same reaction as a person that using crack in a pipe. It's the same intensity, same behavior.
Let me suggest that analysis misses the mark by a little bit. I think what we really need to address is the harm that either of these substances are causing in our communities. It's destroying neighborhoods, it's destroying communities.
Would you agree, Pat? Should the penalties be the same for both then?
I think the penalties, when the harms are the same, the penalties should be the same. But I think that we need to look at harms a lot more. We know that drugs and guns travel together. We need to look at separating those two elements and making sure that when somebody combines those two into a very explosive mixture, that we're prosecuting those and getting additional time. And that's
okay. Again, when it was us, it was all prosecuted. Beloved, make no mistake. During this time, the so-called dominant society or white society or 83 in general, they had a huge drug problem since the 70s. Since the 70s. They just changed the names of those drugs, and they still do have it. Those junkies that were in the 70s, they have children that become junkies, and they have children and children. That's why they are so broken right now. Because you got junkies having junkies, and at one point, the final generation is just mute. There's nothing they can do. They just lost the will to live, and this is what happened. Let's check a little bit this part right there. Oh, not this one, that one. Okay, we had this part. Oh, whoops. That was recorded in Medicine Cabinet in 1972, December 22nd, 1972. That's like 23 years before the whole crack thing. And then this is how they were talking about their issue. There's no prosecution. Listen to what they were saying.
Who are looking for feelings of relief, some degree of euphoria, feeling of well-being, a number of things that they believe will help them solve their problems, or perhaps at least be allowed to help them cope with their problems better.
Mm-hmm. Well, what would be the difference, for instance, between an addiction to a barbiturate such as phenobarbital and an addiction to heroin in intensity and withdrawal problems and so on?
Well, one can be addicted to either of those drugs without being physically dependent. The withdrawal syndrome that is associated with certain groups of drugs only is present if those drugs produce changes within the body metabolism after continued use at a certain dose and a certain frequency. Certain drugs, for instance, such as marijuana or LSD, have no dependency potential. That is to say, they do not produce physical changes in the body. They obviously are drugs to which people can become addicted. But in relation...
Okay, so just let me see if I can. All right. So how they were talking and discussing the aspect and things like that. Nobody's saying, wait a minute, okay, they got the date, all right? December 22nd, 1972. This is when this stuff was recorded.
There's a lot of doctors, across the country that write prescriptions for almost no reason at all.
And how
I know of people that come into our center who have had drug problems or who do have drug problems, who can go to a doctor and get a prescription for whatever they say whatever they tell the doctor they want.
What do you think the medical justification for this is?
There's
Dr.
none.
Commander?
No, there's
None at all.
none at all. It's,
Well,
it's
I think
really
it's
tragic.
I think it's an easy answer to a complex problem. And
You know what she said? She said, I know people, which of course she's a former addict herself. She said, I know people that can go to any doctors and just tell them, doctor, give me drugs. And then they will just give him the prescription. This thing did not started in the 2008 when the Florida, when we had the pain clinic management. Yes. Woo, the pain clinic manager. I remember when I was in high school, man. It was a beautiful time. It was a beautiful time, you know. There are so many stories. But anyway, this thing was prevalent even way before in the 70s. You know, that was 1972. So it was in the 60s and the 70s and things like that. And the women, when they were interviewing the women, and they asked her, the other women, they asked her, okay, why do you think white women out of all women on earth do so much drugs? And then they say because of their mother. They don't want to end up like their mother. The mother's so abusive. The mother's so this, so that. If you watch part 1 and this channel, okay? All right, let's take a little bit of moment of this and then head and do another stuff.
Doctors don't have the time in many cases to treat problems
Again,
like I think they
that
would
was the
like
70s,
to.
okay?
And pills and medication
Gotta
is a
forgive
quick way to cover
the
up symptoms.
threads,
It's
man.
a band-aid approach to underlying problems, and I think doctors, because of their caseloads, because of their the time pressure, tend to overprescribe medication in many cases. I think a psychiatrist, because they can't spend enough time with patients in a therapeutic setting, also tend to overprescribe, let's say, tranquilizing drugs. And the Zaz, they control, but there's still or any
major drug of abuse in this country to begin with, we'll say, but combined with a growing.
Anyway, so they really didn't want to. They really didn't want to say anything about it. They just discussed how many drugs those women were doing, okay, and then they just don't say anything else. They don't bring any law enforcement, although those people were doing a lot of more drugs than anybody else, but they don't bring law enforcement in it. So let me see if we got Mr. Joe right here, still there talking. Let me see if you guys can see it. We had talked about this morning. And more. Okay, you know what? Let's see if we can take. Let's see if we can take the trick. The good doc has something here I don't want to get involved with. But you know what I want to do? I want to get that should be good right there. Too many people coming with their backwarded stuff. I want the news so we can have our perspective. Okay, all right, let's watch this.
Where tonight we'll continue to follow breaking news here at 5 as we learn more about the deaths of 3 men found in the backyard of a Northland home. I'm John Holt.
And I'm Christelle Bell. The toxicology report is in police hands tonight. Fox 4's Malik Jackson joins us now live from KCPD headquarters.
Again, every time those people are doing this reporting, they always got some black dude going over there holding the number 4. All right, go ahead.
Malik, what are you learning about that report that's out?
John and Christelle, we have confirmed with multiple sources that the families of Clayton McGinney, Ricky Johnson, and David Harrington were notified earlier this afternoon by detectives that the toxicology report is complete. Now, it is important to note that these reports are very detailed, so what has been given to these families is preliminary. But what we do know is that there were several substances found to be in these men's bodies, including the presence of cocaine. Now, let's take a
See how it backfired, brethren? See how this thing backfired? Now, those people are calling this thing, oh, those are three chief fans that get together to watch the game. No, that's not what that is. That's not what that is. Those guys, they get together to watch the ball. That's not what that is. When our people come together to watch the ball, the play, or the Super Bowl, they cook, they hang out, occasionally they shoot each other. But no, sir. That's not what that is. Those dudes did not gather together to watch any game. They gathered together to do a specific thing, and they've done it, and they didn't come back for it. Okay, this is the results of what those people were doing back then. See, all right, well, we have a caller. Uh-oh. Hey, shalom, beloved sister.
Shalom, Big Levi. How are you? How's everybody?
So far,
shalom to everybody.
So far, so great, beloved. What you got
Good.
for the nation?
I just want to make a comment about how the police and all the other authorities have always handled the white addicts with kid gloves. They have always done that. If you go back and, because you said it yourself, it started in the 60s. Remember Woodstock in 1969? Okay, they were out in the open doing LSD, PCP, acid, heroin, all kinds of drugs, out in the open, naked, out there in the mud. And they just let them. They didn't go arrest them. They didn't do any of that. So we have always been the target when it comes to drugs, always. And another thing I wanted to share is a personal story that dealt with a family member of mine. He's not innocent. He's not an angel. He did sell marijuana, but he stopped. And he was only using it for personal use at this time when this situation happened. He got pulled. Once they found out he was selling, they always would harass him. This is when he had stopped selling because he had got married. He had 3 children. They pulled him over one night, Big Levi, and he didn't have anything on him. So do you know what the police officer did when he had pulled him over and didn't have anything? He radioed another police officer to go to his house. And they went in his house and found marijuana and they arrested him. This is what these police officers do. They don't do it now because, marijuana is pretty much legal in a lot of states. Even where it's not illegal, they really don't bother you because they don't care anymore. They just don't care, and they don't want to look bad because the real drug problem now is in their community. But shalom, everybody. This is Love Abides. I just wanted to put my little 2 cents in. I love y'all.
Thank you, beloved. Thank you for sharing with us. Again, Brethren, let me put the phone number there so the nation share the story of what happened to them and their family during this era, or anything you would wish the nation to know about. Now, again, beloved, yes. Again, beloved, what happening with those people right now? The drug problem is so heavy in the midst of them. They kind of like not letting us go, but a little bit relaxing. Today I was walking around And then there's always some two-third, black party. They black the street, everybody playing loud music and smoking marijuana. The police just pass there, they see them, but they don't do anything because they have bigger things to worry about. They have bigger fish to fry. They got bigger things to do because what's happening is just times on time an ambulance pass or the paramedic trucks, they gotta go pick up someone that OD, and then it's always one of them. Okay, there's a video in our old channel, old back, where I was going to the train station and this woman just collapsed, and they had to come and give her Narcan and things like that. Okay, so this stuff was real. There are more other things, brethren, okay, that the drugs did. Not only those people were arresting our people for drugs, they were arresting them for other stuff also, okay? Let's just go ahead and watch the rest of the interview with this fellow right there.
It's one of the things that the federal government does.
One really quick question here: the guidelines for crack versus powder cocaine sentencing. Should do those guidelines tie the hands of judges and prosecutors?
I think in the federal system, there's been a large outcry from the judges in particular that they feel that the sentencing guidelines and the mandatory minimum sentences that are extremely long have been tying their hands and have prevented them from doing having the discretion to do justice in each individual case. I think that would be
Al,
fair.
quickly, do you think this should be changed?
I think that the law should be equal. The same amount of powder and the same amount of crack should be prosecuted as the same.
All right. I appreciate you both joining us. We ran out of time. Thank you very much. Every once in a while here on Newsnight, we pick up on a story that we think is worth a follow-up or two, or in some cases even three. Well, here's one of those stories. It's really a very simple story about a little garden shared by neighbors in Minneapolis's central neighborhood. We visited it a few times over the summer, and now that the harvest is wrapping up, we thought it might be a good chance to check in again. Here's KTCA's Dan Bergen.
A few years ago, it was just another abandoned lot. Since then, the Columbus Gardens have become a place where residents have come together to weed out problems and grow community. It's fall, and most of the vegetables are gone from the stalks and stems. But up the street, the shelves are stocked in the remodeled corner store run by Adnan Abu Hamid and his father.
Their price is a little bit cheaper for us.
One reason they invested in the old corner store was because of support from residents who are involved in the community garden.
We had a lot of support from them. They're willing to pass flyers for us, and a lot of people, we came out and they're very excited about the store, and they like the changes and clean it up, this corner especially.
This revamped store is a neighborhood success, but there are several smaller successes that grow from the garden, like the Garden Mentor program.
You were the expert. You remember how to do it?
As garden mentors, Annika Feldstedt and Heather Ferguson shared their plot and their lives with the family across the alley.
Whoa.
Alicia and her sister Camille enjoy the harvest, but that's not all they like about gardening.
I like most of all planting and when they're first growing because they look pretty.
I like to dig the holes.
I like the weeding best.
I like eating the tomatoes best.
That's all you did.
They also liked working with Annika.
She approached us, and then we asked our mom, and our mom said yes. So ever since, we've been in the garden.
You want to pick some beets for a little bit?
Yeah.
Alicia and Camille just took to the garden. And, I thought I might be out there prodding them to water, but it seemed like every time the gate was open, they were over there with their little milk cartons getting ready to water or coming knocking on my door saying, shall we water the garden, or will you give us the key so we can go water the garden? And I think it was just something really solid for them to do and something they were really proud of.
We did a few flowers around the house, but they didn't make it too far.
The girl's mother values the garden as an alternative activity.
It's some place for them to go every day, and they're not thinking about going other places, getting into trouble. they get excited seeing a new carrot or something new growing.
She hopes they always have this kind of positive outlet.
I pray on that every night, that they can stay into the positive thing, because it's so scary now, with the teenagers and the kids killing each other, with them having something else to do positive and that they enjoy makes me feel good. Yeah.
Is there anything you need to tell him to make sure he does it right?
Just pull them up. Pull them out when
By
they No, not yet. I gotta. You have to wait till she.
Now the girls are passing on gardening skills to their younger siblings.
Well, Alicia works really hard in her family, as does Camille. I think
All right, let me see. Okay. All right. Now, now, beloved, you are seeing how those people were handling the drug problem back then and versus now. Okay, the things that they were doing back then were atrocious. They still do it now and a lowdown, but it's just too much now. The attention is too much on them, and they don't make it criminal. Okay, they don't talk about how they don't talk about how it is illegal for those three dudes that are no more on that stuff. They said with the system had cocaine and fent in there, and then they are no more. So you don't hear any uproar. You don't hear any. Well, we need tougher law. We need tougher law. We need to be tough. Okay, we need to be tough. We need another three. Well, you know what? Not three strikes law. We need another one strike law. Nobody's saying anything because now it's targeting them. Now it's them. Ironically, this mass so-called incarceration of our people actually save our brothers and sisters. A lot of those fear save our people because a lot of most black folk didn't want nothing to do with drugs, man. Didn't want nothing to do with that. Okay, drugs was made cool through the music, the movies, and things like that. And you watching now, your job is to reverse that. Your job is to reverse this mentality of being dumb, stupid, ignorant, and irresponsible at school. No, your job is to show them being responsible, intelligent, sharp, and well calculated men and women is cool. And your movie, you're supposed to have at least one scene, a brother or sister or children or reading books, not just random novel, romance, drama, scumbag. No, books that are powerful, books that will help them, books that can and is helping them. You must have scenes where people are speaking intelligibly. If you are making music, speak and sing where people can actually hear and understand what you're saying. We had talked about this before. Yeah, yesterday we talked about the movies, and we said tonight we wanted to touch on the music part of it. If you're making music, whether it's singing, gospel like music, jazz, country music, blues, anything, make it clear. Don't take any elements of this now what they call modern stuff and incorporate it in your music. Bring something original. It's in you, it's within you. Change the game. You have this ability, you have this quote unquote this power in you. Okay, that's one thing. I maybe when I was going out there, somebody called. Let me see if someone did call. Um, hmm. I had text messages. Let me see. Give me a second. Give me a second, baby. Oh. Let me see. Okay, I'm receiving. Okay. All right. Let's move into the stories where no, not the storm. Let's get let's see if we can get the oops. All right, let's see what we get here. Okay, they are not. Let me share this with the nation. Uh-oh. Okay, so I just put fentanyl crisis is affecting. Let's put 2F here. Is affecting mostly whites, but this is what you get. Okay, for instance, fentanyl. Why so many Americans dying from synthetic opioids? BBC. Okay, they don't say why so many blacks, why so many whatever. Let's watch this because we watched before. Okay, this size is a little dose of, okay, look at the faces and the ages. Young people, 31, 26, 18, 17. All right, look at the faces. All right, this is the wall. Okay, look at this. But look at that. All right, I want the nation to look at this. You see all those faces that are here. There's that one brother right here. There's that one brother. That's two brothers right here. There's this brother and this brother right there. And besides that, I'm not quite sure if I can spot any other. But if they have to do an expose or they have to do a news, they'll focus on those. they just focus on those two guys and make it seem that not only they did this to themselves, they are responsible for the whole thing. Okay. All right, this is a tragedy, man. See, all those people are being no more, man. Okay, devastating the U.S., not devastating the black community, not devastating the black community, because back then that's what they were putting. Okay, let me listen to this fellow right there.
Potent opioid. It's at least 50 times more potent than heroin. People are being exposed to fentanyl without knowing it. And because it's so highly potent, people are dying at unprecedented rates. What's happened in the United States is fentanyl has entered into all these different parts of our drug supply, including the heroin supply. Cocaine, for example, have increasingly been tainted with fentanyl. Pills that are sold on the street that might look like regular prescription pills are very often fake counterfeit pills that have been made with fentanyl in them. Someone experiencing an overdose will have this decrease in breathing, might lose consciousness, might start to turn blue or pale, and within a few minutes can die.
So now we got Narcan, things available. You know, people are putting pressure on you so you can get Narcan. You're like, yo, I don't have any addicts in my home. I'm not an addict. Like, well, you never know. There's something might happen, so you would need this and you'll need that. You know, so like, yo, man, I don't need to walk on with Narcan on me. This is not me. Okay, all right. So now suddenly those people after this, you see those comments, okay, they're all bats though, okay? You see, few years ago, fentanyl addiction actually destroyed my life. I suffered severe depression and mental disorder. Not until my mom recommended to me psilocybin mushrooms treatment. Psilocybin treatment saved my life, honestly. 2 years totally clean. Never thought I would be saying this about mushroom. Now you people want to talk about natural stuff. Now you people are saying, well, it's not a drug now. It's not this and that. Now you people want to do this thing. You know, back then when the brother was telling you this is the hash, this is the solution. We have the technology, use it. And then you guys wanted to use it for free. Say, well, we need $6 million to get things going on and do the studies. You people did not want to spend that $6 million. You spent over $800 billion instead and tried to keep our people down. Now look at you. Now look at you. Okay, beloved, this drug thing is just everywhere. This drug thing is just killing everyone. Well, mostly them. Okay. All right. Let's take the drink now.
As you see, I got like infection everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That just appeared days ago.
Yeah. And see how deep it goes?
Look at this, Bridget. Look at this. Do you see how that much that thing backfire on those people? Look at the liquid dripping.
As you see, I got like infection everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That just appeared days ago.
Yeah. And see how deep it goes? Like, that's insane.
Ryan Green is a victim of a new street drug.
He's a victim. He's a victim. Back then, if they caught one of our people in that state, they would have to get on the ground, tackle him, put a handcuff on him, send him straight to jail. You see what happened now? Beloved, forgive me, okay? This thing is a little bit graphic. I understand this, but that's what that is. This is the moment. That's what you people did, and this is the result of that.
Eating away at the bodies of those who use it.
My arm swelled up like about this big, and it was like an abscess. It hurt so bad. This is a real trank sore.
Trank is fentanyl mixed with xylazine, an animal tranquilizer meant for horses and cattle.
You end up unconscious to the point where people will just rob you when you're asleep every time.
And it's completely taken over Philadelphia's Kensington neighborhood, block after block of devastating harm.
For about a year now, there's been this mobile clinic coming to this neighborhood because so many people here have terrible skin rotting wounds from the.
Okay, so they had mobile things, mobile wound care, taking care of those people, make sure they are well. You know, it's a public health crisis, man. We cannot arrest them. We have to do this. We have to do that. Okay.
The drug.
You stay safe. How you doing? All right, what are we going to do first? Your arm, then your head?
Again, beloved, those things, those wound care, they cost millions of dollars to run. Somebody is getting money from this. Somebody's funding that. You don't have a truck like this, okay, running around and do those things for free, and those people are not getting paid. They're just doing this for the goodness. This is not pro bono. And that's what those folks do when it comes to them. When it was us, build more prison. When it was Jacob's trouble, build more prison, put those people in there, make them work, put them back in slavery again. Let's keep on moving.
All right, take a deep breath. I'm sorry. You know, I don't mean to hurt you.
The clinic is run by the city and a local hospital. And
The clinic is run by the city and a local hospital. That means the government is involved in this.
Ryan is a regular here.
Yeah, this hurts really bad.
That hurts because it's really infected.
Nurse practitioner Michelle Murphy-Rosansky treats about 25 patients every day.
Her name is Michelle. So,
You okay? We see people who have lost multiple body parts. In the summer, we do see a lot of maggots because they get into the wounds. Yeah, it's brutal.
Like so many, Ryan at first didn't know his fentanyl had been cut with xylazine. Now he's addicted to the mix.
that guy got a hole in his head, man. Look at this. The dude has a hole above his eyebrow, and he's still alive. Good grief. I don't want that, man.
First didn't know his fentanyl had been cut with xylazine. Now he's addicted to the mix.
But still come back tomorrow. Let me write the prescription, so don't leave yet.
Okay, those are the one that lost a leg and stuff like that.
But don't leave yet.
What's happening here is extreme, but it could also serve as a warning because tranq is showing up in Canada too, making the overdose crisis even worse.
The Canadian Centre on Substance Use and Addiction says xylazine, or tranq, has emerged as an increasingly common cutting agent.
Now, Health Canada is warning that tranq is being found more in Canada.
Health Canada says cases of xylazine in street drugs it analyzed jumped from 5 to more than 1,300 over the last 5 years. It's being found most in Ontario.
We're in Windsor, a border city in southern Ontario, and it's been hit really hard by the opioid crisis with rising overdose deaths. And like in Philadelphia, outreach workers and people who use drugs say the drug supply here is becoming even more toxic.
The levels are nowhere near Philadelphia. Still, with tranq's arrival here, Lacey Kresman's outreach has become more urgent.
What can I get for you?
Narcan, but
Injectable and nasal?
She distributes supplies so people can use drugs safely.
You remember?
Okay, she distributed supplies so people can use the drug more safely. Beloved brothers and sisters, I may not be, I was back in the 1980s and 90s. I wasn't there. I was not that conscious. I was a child. I was a little boy. I could not remember everything. I knew certain things. But for those of you that remember, did they have things like that make drugs for people to do drugs, to make things facilitated, to make our people much more comfortable to do drugs safely? Did they have crack posts? Did they have people over there and distributing pillows for the crack addicts so they can do crack better, so they can be comfortable while they are doing their crack? See, this is the hypocrisy. Couple people say, well, let them die. They can afford that. They can afford that. If they let those people die, then again, they're going to have to let more migrate in here. Where was all that love, man? Where was it? Where was this woman? Those people destroy us, prison, and do all the stuff. And then now things are happening. They got to give them Narcan just in case your friend OD so you can take care of it. And people just sit there and they said nothing about that. They said nothing about it. Let's keep on moving.
Remember when I was here the other day, I was talking about that xylazine stuff.
Drink, right?
Right. It changes how we respond to overdose. It looks a lot different. So
I didn't even notice that because people who are on Fetty that don't know they're doing drink, they'll be stumbling and be like, I'm not high. And you're like, you can't even stand straight. You are high on something. Thank you.
Is the situation getting worse here?
I don't know if it's getting worse. What I will say is I think it's getting more complex in the way that we offer outreach services. Have you guys heard about xylazine?
Yeah.
It's causing a lot of skin wounds and
like that.
Exactly like that.
This is healed. That's 2 months healed.
Lacey quickly comes across this man who says he overdosed, was given naloxone to reverse it moments before.
How long were you Narcan ago? You know that he can go back into overdose though, right? Do you want me to wait with him while you go get him a drink?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, of course.
No one knows what he's taken, so Lacey keeps close, because if it's xylazine, naloxone won't work. That's part of why Lacey is so worried.
How dangerous is that when someone, gets fentanyl, they don't know tranq is in it, they take it, and they just didn't know what they had? How dangerous is that for them?
It's not dangerous, it's fatal. I'm training people on how to respond to polysubstance overdoses. And right now that could be anything. And so we want to keep people alive. We want to keep them breathing.
Ontario's chief coroner says xylazine has been detected in more than 100 overdose deaths since 2020. Windsor police say they've found fentanyl mixed with xylazine in 2 drug busts since 2022. It's not clear if it was added locally, but in some ways it doesn't matter.
We've already had 2 confirmed xylazine deaths in Windsor, Essex.
Where xylazine was in the fentanyl someone took.
Yes. And unfortunately, it's always playing a game of catch up. I'm sure that it's a lot worse than what we're seeing, in the statistics right now.
That makes knowing what's in drugs so important. In Toronto, street drugs from what's in drugs.
I was just going to leave this right here, just to let the people know and watch and see this thing was and still no joke, man. And those are the people that's supposed to bring Jacob's trouble, okay? Those are the people that's supposed to somewhat, I don't know, get the army together and destroy our people. We know we are protected. We know Michael is in the midst. It's a terrible thing, beloved, what's happening out there. Excuse me. Okay, if you look at the message, they say we are reinventing the patient experience, because that's not how you people handle our people back then. A lot of our people think the so-called elite are somewhat in control of this. They are doing this because they want to depopulate the world or have all the resources for themselves, as if they have not get those resources, as if they don't have them now. But Big Levi, you have to understand, China is doing this. But Big Levi, you have to understand the government is doing this. The government is not doing that. They were doing it. The government were doing the one to us, then they lost control of it. They cannot control that. One of the way to somewhat slow down this thing is to cut off the internet for at least 10 years. So the supply will run out. So they won't be able to order it. which they will find a way. But it is. Beloved brothers and sisters, it's already, we've been there for 1 hour. Should we keep on moving, or we good? Because today's Sunday, it's already 10:30 p.m. We do not want to keep the nation for too long. Should we keep on moving? Should we keep on moving, beloved, or because we might take it to 1:11 p.m. All right. Let's keep on moving, brethren. The nation has spoken. The phone line is open, beloved. You're welcome to give your point of view and things like that. Okay, that's the name of the hospital. Okay, St. Michael's Hospital. Let's keep on moving, brethren. Okay.
Drugs so important. In Toronto, street drugs from around the are dropped off here every day.
Hi, how's it going?
A lab at St. Michael's Hospital,
It's supposed to be fentanyl.
where testing is done to see what's in them.
Caffeine, benzo, a little bit of appraisal.
Karen McDonald is with the Toronto Drug Checking Service.
So we found 7 drugs in this sample. That includes floral fentanyl. We also found bromazolam. We found xylazine. So xylazine is a central nervous system depressant. And so using it in combination with fentanyl increases the risk of dangerous suppression of the vitals. It is a drug that is not approved for human use. In the spring of 2022 was when it was really at its peak. We were finding xylazine in 20% of the fentanyl samples that we checked.
This peak here, this is xylazine.
Levels fluctuate, hovering around 10.
Now they got all sort of data that they want to show you. They got all sort of data that they want to show you now. They're going to put it on the screen and say, this is what we found and stuff like that. Back then, during the crack epidemic, they didn't show you anything. They just tell you. Oh, well, we got the statistics. The data said that, black people, you are doing this. We got to be tough.
10% for this year. But that could change, or other unexpected additives could show up at any time.
So what that means is that the drug supply is getting stronger. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. More contaminated, less predictable.
I am a person who uses drugs. Right now, I am not in active use.
There's not much testing in Windsor. That means Brandon Bailey, who struggles staying clean, might never know what he's actually taking.
That's scary. There is times where I've relapsed, where I've wanted to not use, and then I ended up using on a day. And yeah, when I end up with something that has that, I'm not the person that I want to be.
Have you had an experience where you've overdosed?
I've had it where I've gone to sleep and then I wake up and I don't have any concept. So I could have been overdosing. I don't know. I could have died. It's not.
Okay, that was a part in Canada, okay? All right, so it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Let's take another one. I need something that is more recent. Okay, need something more recent. I think it's Australia. No. Okay, let's go all over to France. Yeah, this one was 7 years ago. Okay, that was 7 years. This girl died. Okay, she's no.
This is the new.
That was 7 years ago, back in 2000. Let me see. 2016. That's when Sister Lisa was, all up in this thing, but they were ignoring it. They were acting like this thing, it's nothing. She got this dread over there, make sure she got that dread because that's the thing.
Young face of fentanyl addiction. Before and after. 22-year-old Katie Mather, forehead and chin clawed open by her own fingernails.
Okay.
Because the use of
she's 22 years old. This is a 22-year-old woman. Okay, she opened her own flesh, her own wound with her own nail. She just dig into her own skin. She just bite into her own flesh.
Fentanyl makes her skin crawl. I spot her on the Strip, Surrey's infamous drug hangout, and ask if she'll talk to me. She puts cover-up on her raw skin.
So I'm literally just did my mascara and I'm good to go.
Katie settles in to tell her story.
There you go. Perfect.
How she ended up living on the street 3 months ago, addicted to fentanyl.
Well, I've been using, it's actually funny. Well, not funny, it's terrible. I have a really addictive personality. I've always been like addicted to something, whether it was shopping or Facebook or whatever. And I did an oxy. I got addicted right away. And then I finally found a regular dealer and I started picking up all the time. I remember the day the fentanyl came out and my dealer said, you know, I've got these new pills. They're fake oxys. He didn't tell me they were fentanyl because nobody knew what fentanyl was yet. He just said they're 100 times stronger and they're only $5 more. And I was just like, okay, because I was getting a pretty high tolerance at this point.
Oxys, OxyContin, led to fake 80s, fentanyl posing as OxyContin. Immediately, Katie wanted nothing else.
I could buy one of these fake 80s, put them into 4 lines, and 2 lines would last me a full day. That's how strong it was. And if I did a full pill, I would OD.
Katie says she's overdosed 11 times, most recently a few days ago. Brought back by paramedics or friends on the Strip who have naloxone, the powerful opioid antidote.
Every time I do dope, I know I'm taking a risk. I know that I might die, but like it doesn't matter how many times I've OD'd. I still use the next day because the withdrawals are so bad.
Katie has been in the news before. She and her sister attacked by a Rottweiler cross back in December. Katie was badly hurt and spent time in hospital. She says that cemented her addiction to fentanyl. As she talks, blood starts to seep through her makeup.
Katie, you're 22. Why would you risk this?
Well, at first it was just fun, right? It was just for fun. It was just a party drug that, and there's been some things that I've gone through and it helped with a lot of pain. And especially after, that dog attack, I just couldn't stop,
I ask Katie if she worries about herself and her future.
Sometimes. I mean, I don't know. I just like to take things one day at a time, right? I'll kind of just go with it and hopefully, hope for the best.
For now, the best Katie can hope for is to wake up from her next fix of fentanyl. Eric Rankin, CBC News, Surrey.
So yeah, man. Oh, excuse me. Oh. All right, I guess I'm good now. Anyway, so that was what's going on 7 years ago, and you have these women, they are addicted to this stuff, and they just let it go. She died though. She died right after the interview, I believe. She OD'd somewhere. She died. I'm not quite sure. You might want to double check that. Remember what she said? She said it's always something. I was addicted to something. Okay. I believe there's this kleptomancy. If this is the right word. People that are addicted to shoplifting. They are super rich. They're just addicted to stealing things. You got celebrities going to places stealing things. This is amazing. People are stealing things because the thrill, it felt so good to go over there and steal a toothbrush and put it in your kleptomaniac. I'm not quite sure why, but this thing is just, they have the money. They can pay for it, but they prefer to steal it. You have those rich folks, when I was working in those rich neighborhoods, they got the money, but they have to steal this thing. And they stole it. And when those people get arrested, well, they call their parents and then They call the husband or whatever. They just come and they speak a little here, or speak a little there, and then they let them go. They let them go. They let them go. Well, when it was our people, they don't let them go. They let them go straight to jail. See, this is the result. This is the result in how you treat the children of Jacob. Because these things you used to do to also still doing was and still part of Jacob's trouble. Anyone that tried to convince you what happened during the drugs epidemic was not Jacob's trouble, or even above all, they tried to convince you what's going on now is not Esau's trouble, is actually the beginning of Jacob's trouble, is a bold-faced liar. What had happened before was Jacob's trouble. What's happening now is indeed 83's trouble. That's why you see them, they are in the region. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. They are being hidden everywhere. Drugs, business, money, food, health, mental health, physical health, spiritual health. No matter what the facade is, they keep getting hit on it. And they don't know what to do. Wonder if fentanyl is the new LSD or more powerful. Fentanyl is nowhere near LSD. LSD, what you're calling acid, is not a drug at all. Acid or LSD is those things that you. It's not like you can use acid every day or you can use LSD every 5-10 minutes. You can't. You can't use those things because they are not your typical drug. But fentanyl is lethal. Fentanyl, you'll die. Fentanyl is just, it's paralyzed. It doesn't make you see any vision, anything that you have some spiritual awakening or you see other things. No, you just go to sleep. Remember what that guy said? He said, the woman said, baby, you have OD'd before. He said, I don't know. All I remember, I just go to sleep and then I woke up. LSD gives you trip because it was derived from certain chemical compound formulas. You see things, you see, so that not this. You can't die on LSD. For you to die on LSD, is you die on LSD, you could die if you take it, you run to the street and things like that. But fentanyl is a completely different thing. Fentanyl is just straight up poison. It just paralyzes you and then you go to sleep. That is all for you. Okay, that is all for you. Okay, shrink and weed, that's not the same thing. Remember the cop that got the fentanyl on him by accident? Yeah, he almost died. It has a little thing drop on this cop, and the cop was just, and then he fell. If they didn't give him the Narcan, he would have died. A little like grain of salt dropped on him. It almost killed him. It happened all the time. It happened all the time. Yes, indeed, you can't OD on herbs and entheogens. Those things are not made to be OD'd, and they are not drugs. Those are the people that know what those things does. They hide it. They put entheogen in the same class as cocaine. Now they're all over the place promoted it now. Oh well, we need to look the other way because these things really help me get off fentanyl. Yeah. Now you people want to get part of the blessing. Well, let me tell you, bad news, sir. The entheogen is not yours. You had your blessing. You spent your blessing to curse us. You waste your blessing and cursing us. We're not going to waste our blessing and try to curse you back. We're just going to enjoy our blessing and then let you guys do whatever the hell you want to do with yourself. You people waste your time trying to destroy us instead of you enjoying your blessing. Do what you are told. You will have received mercy. If you did take this blessing right after slavery, when the thing you freed our people, you make sure you take care of us. The one that get out of line, you execute them. You didn't. You didn't. You can buy drugs from vending machine here, weed, coke, fentanyl, oxy, and trank in the streets. It's all over. It's all over. So you people went overboard. You harbored and take all the blessing. You take all the goals. You take everything. You did everything that you can do to destroy our people. And then now you finally realize that not only we are indestructible, we are quote unquote immortal. Now your head is all over the place. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. So the best thing you can do is put it on the so-called the elite. Oh, the elite is doing this, the elite is doing that. No, the elite have no idea what's going on. They are losing their freaking mind. Why? Because the so-called the priest of Mahan, they didn't tell them those things. The priest of Mahan tell everybody, this is how things gonna go down. You're going to do all the stuff that you want to do, and nothing going to happen to you. In fact, at the end of the day, you will be raptured. You won't be here, baby. You won't be here. You're going to go raptured. You're going to go this place and that place. You're going to enjoy it, second heaven with Jesus. Now look at you. Now look at you. I believe there's one last thing we want to take. Let me see if I can have it here. Okay, all right. Let me see. This is the. All right, let me go ahead and share this one with the nation. This happened a few years ago. Look police officers, okay? Look at their behavior, okay? Watch this.
Syringe with heroin. You probably walked up on it. So that's a loaded syringe with heroin. You probably walked up on it. You say you might be pregnant. I'll give you my card.
I'm actually kind of anxious for this one. We had a story on the air about how Everett police basically respond to a heroin overdose every single day. And so I called police about it, and they told me to come along with them. So that's where I'm going. You can see why I'm a little anxious. I have no idea what I'm about to see. I'm Jake Wittenberg. Nice to meet you, Kayla. Hi, Kevin. Nice to meet you. Just in case.
Yeah, this is the newer kit as well here. So everything is pre-set up, so it's easy to use. Insert this in the nostril, and then you just compress that, and it's quick and easy. If we notice those signs of intoxication or overdose, that's when we can use the Narcan. The cost of heroin is so inexpensive now. It's easy to obtain. It's easy to get high.
They don't really feel the effects of the high anymore. It just keeps them from not getting sick.
Yeah.
Pulling up behind the men's rescue mission in Everett. There's a bridge here just off the interstate. Looks like we're gonna check in on some people that they know by name.
Usually there's a large group of people that kind of hang out in the area.
Daily, this is one of our stops.
That's Dominic down there, isn't it? Okay.
I let Officer Davis go first. Like a couple people are probably dope sick and needing their fix for the day, but it's early still, so.
So Officer Davis is checking on people that he knows. Cops just can't arrest their way out of the heroin problem, so they're trying to meet people, get to know them, and more or less convince them that they need to get help somewhere else other than under this bridge.
Usually just, reintroduce myself, remind them I'm here if you need anything, They know how to get a hold of us. They know what services are available. There's some new faces down here too, which is always interesting to see.
Why do you have to be out there?
We're homeless at the moment. My husband's waiting for his housing voucher to come through, and they have no other alternative.
What do you think when the police show up like this and do these checks?
I think it's fine, and they're just checking for our safety and checking on some of the regulars to see if they're okay. And I have no problem with it.
Is heroin a problem on the streets?
Yeah, a big problem. It's taken over the last couple of years. It's really taken over. I've lost a lot of friends in the last few years because of it.
I purchased a hotel room for a client because he's going to inpatient treatment. I just called the hotel and they say he's not in the room, but I know he's in the room, so it's super frustrating. A success can be a client showing up to an appointment or them agreeing to go to DOL with us and get their ID. One of those individuals who we have known for a long, long time, he was in jail for a little while and got sober. He's ready to change. So right now he's in a hotel waiting for his bed date in treatment. So he's doing super well, and it's so exciting because he calls us and we can have a totally normal conversation with him. And it's so new because normally our conversations with him, he's super high on meth, and now he can totally tell us about his life and about his family and what he wants to do when he gets out of treatment. And it's just super cool to see who he really is as a person.
We'll be out 11611 wooded area to the west and north.
We're at a camp now where apparently there's 11 tents or so. They're going to do a check on some of the people that now live here. Little trails everywhere that lead to different campsites and trash all along the way. They gotta watch your step through here.
Please. Anyone in here? You'll see them lock them up when they're best they can when they're ready. Who else is with you there? Okay, why don't you guys come out to the door here where I can see you.
Let's get packed up to get out of here.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost all packed up.
Okay. You guys remember talking with the officers last week?
It's almost packed up.
Okay.
That's all.
Yep. Could you just turn around so I can see you? Just see your hands. That's all I care about. Yep. Thank you. Anyone else? I don't see anyone else there. No one hiding under the covers. Okay, favor, let's go ahead and have a seat here, guys, just so I can keep track of everybody. So that's a loaded syringe with heroin. You probably walked up on, and then inside, and then usually the kit's here. There's another kit on the ground. We'll get a sharps container and take care of all that.
You see, beloved? You see? No brutal arrest, no get on the ground, no this, no that. And this was a few years ago, I believe. That was in 6 years ago. Okay, that was in 2017, October 9th, 2017. All right? Okay? Drug abusers don't need jail. They need rehabilitation. True hero, my respect. Okay? All right? So my brother was hooked on this crap back in his early 20s. He got scared straight, though. He was on the south side of Chicago buying heroin when he got busted by a narco and stuff like that. There you go. There goes those people. Psilocybin saved my life and stuff like that. After psilocybin, now you people want to talk about something our brethren was telling you. This thing is not a drug. It's a technology, and you people need to make it legal. But you put it in the same category as cocaine. That thing has nothing to do with drugs. It's something that this thing go on. Anyway, so that's what those people were doing back then. That's what they are doing. When it comes to them, and you know, they are addicts. They have a problem. We have to acknowledge this problem, and we have to help them. We have to provide for them and rehabilitate them. That's not what you did to us. It's not what you did to us. You destroy our people. You destroy us. Yeah, those people are leaving trash everywhere. And one thing that I despise with those folks and everything they are doing that somewhat helping nature, they become very pretentious. Well, you have to be environmental friendly, and then that's why I'm doing this thing here just to save the environment. You people are the biggest abusers of nature, animal, and people on this earth. You destroy everything. Those folks never take a good look, do a good introspection on themselves. They always focus on us. That's why they never see their own filth, their own failure. They never see their own fault. Always focus on us, always, until the problem get really bad on them. When they start to looking back, they realize, wow, I have so much imperfection. My body composed nothing but flawed. That's what you people did, man. People have to remind you what you did because you have a tendency of somewhat forget things that happened a few 6, 7 years ago. Yes, the cops are nice to those people because it's their own. I ain't gonna put my daughter in jail, my friend's daughter, your daughter, your brothers, your children in jail because what they were doing a little weed, they were smoking a little. They're kids, man. Let them do the stuff they're learning, and stuff. But if I find 83 children doing crack cocaine out there, shoot them dead. That's what it is. And a lot of those people that you see in this little segment are no more. They are not here anymore. Keyword, selective amnesia, That's the keyword. Beloved brothers, it's about to be 11 p.m. The fast is over, at least for me. Tomorrow going to be day 6. I will leave the nation with great peace, great glory. And we'll see if we can do these things almost every night, if we can, just to spend a little time together to revise the past and go see in the future and things like that. Tomorrow, after the prayer, we're going to probably read a little Maxime and reflection. And tomorrow night, we might have a little thing like that, a little get together and just enjoy and watch other stuff and share with the nation. Beloved, keep the fast going, keep it holy. The Plutonian fast is very powerful, okay? Let not petty things bother you. Don't get involved with nonsense. Just relax. Excuse me. Just relax and at night come and join unto us. Have a little fellowship. Sit there and relax. The only thing we can do right now, beloved, is just to wait. That's all. We cannot stop this, nor slow it down. Tomorrow is gonna be the 5th, okay? The day after tomorrow gonna be the 6th, and so on and so on until we reach X mark the spot. You already see how things are going on around here, and there's nothing we can do. I personally, years ago, I stopped trying to wake up people. Since 2020, I believe before that, years ago, I stopped telling people who we are, and they need to come into this truth so they can be saved. I take a good look at myself, say, well, I'm no different than a Christian. This is not me waking up people. This is the work of the Holy One. If wake up this person is up and stuff. Beloved, I say shalom, great glory to the Mighty One, praises to the Most High. I'll see you tomorrow at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Shalom.